It's a long week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How was your second week of school?
It's going okay. Probably, hopefully.
Probably. You like the new formats?
Sure.
I'm like working on project.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, working on project.
Well, that's like with ensembles, like, I don't know. Here's the tunes we're going to work on.
Playing through
and, like,
music.
the general concepts and things, and I'll get to all of them all the time and whatever. And anyway.
All right.
I kind of figured out Canvas, I think.
Well, you're behind. Do you know what Canva is?
Yeah, dude.
Do you use it?
Yeah, I've used Canva longer than I've used Canvas.
Do we get a free access to the pro version?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because I knew about it, but now I'm like, ooh. Because
yeah, like I'm like, I wish I had more things to make posters for and like brochures. And
I'm gonna tell you something.
Fancy Instagram posts.
That
you're gonna tell just me. No one else will ever hear this. But just me.
So
on microphone.
Hey, listen,
I'm recording.
Listen, guys.
Yeah.
No. Start another podcast, man.
Cool.
There's no talking.
Yeah.
It's just ambient music for an hour.
So, okay. I thought you were gonna say
but I'm putting it out in podcast form.
Silent.
So it's echoes in the Welk House, but in podcast form.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good idea? Because I think it's weird.
Yeah.
But like, where else would you listen to an hour-long thing?
Just listen to an album.
But no, it's like one evolving
track?
piece.
Okay, well then just put it out that way.
But that would cost money.
How does what?
Because this is in podcast form where everybody can just get a podcast and like get the new music every time it comes out, which is going to be weekly.
Oh, yeah, it's not the worst idea.
It's an hour long.
Yeah. Not the worst idea.
Yeah. Actually, cool. Who I talked about last week, Andy Othling, he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to do a podcast. I'm like, wait, ambient music podcast? Let me see if these things are real. If you're just making, like, this is a new thing. And looking up, and it's like, no, it's just people. There's like, hey, guys, this is blah, 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 blah. See you later. Yeah. And then there's like an hour long of just ambient music. There's another one that just like goes between different things, like they're little tracks. But I'm like, no, I'll just do an hour. But it takes me an hour to make.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I thought at first when you were like,
you're going to talk about the other thing.
There's no talking.
There's no.
Say it was like
it's just silence.
But do you know? So
there were bands that did that.
Well, Wolfpack was like the most famous one that did that.
Yeah.
They did a silent album on Spotify to like jack up
boost their numbers.
Yeah,
just put it on while you're sleeping.
Get paid and stuff too. And then
Spotify found it.
In trouble. Yeah.
Well, they didn't get in trouble.
No,
they
but like
caught.
they were like,
you can't do
take that down. Yeah, because basically people would just like play it forever. Like they would just put it on like, oh, I'm gonna put it on my phone while I go to bed. So it loops for all night.
You can, and it's actually something. Except sometimes they come out really haunting.
Do you want people to fall asleep to your music? Is that what type of music you want to
It's more about like, well, I don't know, because it's ambient music, right? So it's background music. It's what was Debussy was calling it, like furniture music?
Oh,
or is that
I don't know.
It's one of those French composers from the Romantic period. There's no melody. It's super random, and when I mean it's super, like it's 100% random.
Yeah,
like nothing is. It's programmed as well. There's no guitar. It's just like the computer's making it. But
in his case, it was more like programmatic too. Like it was more about the mood and the specific story or whatever he was telling. But like, just like the sea.
You could listen to it and be like, ooh, that was kind of cool. But it's like it's not. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
go check it out. There's one episode up.
Cool.
Well, by the time this comes out, there might be like 3.
Yeah. So speaking of Debussy's La Mer or the sea,
I'm going to talk about Starkiller.
When I was in college, we went to Eastman. It was my only time there, and we were in like their library because they have a really extensive music library, and they also have like a lot of like really cool stuff in their archives, including like a handwritten portion or all of, I don't remember at this point, of Debussy's La Mer. And they're like, yeah, you can look at it in this like sealed box or whatever. And then I remember the room that we were in where they have like all the really cool old expensive stuff. They're like, yeah, so here's the thing. If there's ever a fire, all the air just gets sucked out of this room and we shoot a bunch of nitrogen in here. So like, don't ever be in here if there's a fire.
So kind of like that room in Tenet.
Yeah. Like exactly like that.
So if you want to steal the music, you have to do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, you like Tenet?
I like that. Yeah, I do like Tenet.
Did you watch it a third time?
I haven't watched it a second time.
Subtitles?
No, I need to watch it a second time with the subtitles on though.
All right, so let's get to our song. My song, your song. The band is called Bear Ghost.
Cool.
The song is called Starkiller.
Yep.
And the album is called Blasterpiece.
Yes. Is it a concept album?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because I know what this song is about.
Okay.
Do you know what the song is about?
No.
Do you have any idea?
If I had to guess,
Yep.
Starkiller.
Okay. So
There
who are you
was
thinking?
Starkiller bass
Okay.
from the J.J. Abrams, what was it? Star Wars and the Four Jamaicans.
The Fortune. Yes.
Star Wars The Force Awakens. There's Starkiller bass in there.
Okay. This
Also-
came out 5 years ago.
Wasn't Luke Skywalker's, what was his original last name? It wasn't Skywalker, it was Starkiller, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish that you didn't know.
You wish I wasn't a giant nerd? That's what you're saying?
So this whole song is about Star Wars.
Oh, cool.
So
It sounds very concept-y. So
Oh, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
just the song is, but I assumed...
totally.
I didn't listen to
totally.
anything else, so I assumed maybe like the whole album kind of was.
Uh,
Also,
yeah.
the beginning of the song had me thinking it was going to be one thing, and then it's not. And it doesn't like totally flip, but it just was like a bit different than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
It was going to be a lot heavier.
No, I would describe this band as like theatrical.
Oh, for sure. I
Right.
got MCR and
Yes.
Coheed vibes completely.
Yeah, totally.
Which, it's funny, there's another band that I want to play on here.
They didn't hear that. Just letting you know.
There's another band I want to play on here that also gives me My Chemical Romance and Coheed vibes, but in a different way.
Yeah, it's My Chemical Romance and
No.
My Chemical Coheed
No. There's a different band though.
and
But they
Cambria
give me a
Romance.
vibe of it, of like from a musical perspective. These guys give it to me from a theme and
concept.
and production and that kind of thing. So
Gotcha.
anyway, we should listen to it so
Yeah,
people
here
know
it
what I'm
is.
talking about.
Yeah, totally about Star Wars. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah. No, very complex. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Upon second listening now,
Yeah.
because I know what the rest of it's going to sound like,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds, I mean, not that I didn't think it fit,
Mm-hmm.
but the first time I listened to it, I was
It was
expecting
jarring.
not jarring, but I just was expecting more like harsher vocals and
Oh, okay.
other stuff. But now that I'm hearing it, I'm like, no, this.
Okay.
I
Right.
hear exactly where this is
So
going.
the first time you heard it, you thought it was going to be like,
Not
right.
quite that much, but like rougher.
but not the other part.
Not
so,
what happens. Yeah, basically.
There's like the intro, very complex, like just like
Yeah.
let's rip it on the guitar. Then we get I would say early Coheed feel with the backing vocals,
Yeah.
which you can totally see
Yeah.
a group of girls just like
Well, and it also
duet like old 1950s like but like updated.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to Big D and the Kids Table?
Yeah. I know
So
those
they
dudes.
have the
They're
doped
so
up
good.
dollies,
Yeah.
like backup singers and stuff. It straight up,
Yeah.
like like there was part of me that was like, is this like a Big D like
Big D
turns
ripoff
into
band?
like a prog rock band or
Oh,
whatever?
yeah. I don't like know anything about this band because there's
Okay.
like nothing to know. They're
Fair
just
enough.
like they're from Arizona and they're like 5 years ago they released this record and people took notice
Okay. And then that's
and
it.
and then they never they did they've released but like they must have taken a break or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's I'll do like the first stanza and then I'll read it and then you'll be like
Watching you for quite a while now. It's getting all too hard to bite my
which
tongue.
like feels Halloweeny
Yeah.
and scary.
Yeah.
Try to look away, but I think it's
Horror pop.
Yes.
I know you find my aura so seductive. You're running from it each and every day.
Weird chord jumping, right? Like it's not like just seconds and thirds. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. All right, so I've been watching you for quite a while now. It's getting all too hard to bite my tongue. I know you've caught my gaze and you've tried to look away, but I think it's time we had a little fun. So it's right there. You
Is
don't.
that from like Ben Kenobi's perspective?
No, I think it's from Palpatine.
Oh, okay.
I think this whole song is like written from Palpatine's perspective.
Interesting.
It's like, I know you find my aura so seductive. You're running from each and every day. Your lover's got no clue. which is Padme. What you want, but oh, I do. And I'll show you if you promise that you'll stay. And then it says, open wide, your dark side.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I never looked at the lyrics, and I'm that part. There's two parts that like scream it out. That are like, it's about Star Wars. Besides the Starkiller title, that dark side. It's like, wait, maybe it is, because there's a part that comes out in the bridge, which you're like, oh, totally. So here's the chorus. It's like, hey Annie, won't you mosey on down from the light? So it's like, hey Anakin, why don't you come to the dark side?
Right.
Right.
Hey, won't you mosey on down from the light? Time to wait and make up your damn mind. Yeah, it's alright. We won't know that you want it. Don't you be so shy.
We will walk the sky, Skywalker. Right.
We will walk the sky, fly. Don't resist, just live and save us.
Don't resist, just give in. Star Wars.
Well, not for your soul, but it's already mine. Angry with the boring conversations. Sick of doing everything they say.
There's so many little things.
Yeah.
Like if you know this, like the boring conversations. Like I'm just like, I don't know if it's actually like dialogue from the movie. If Anakin has actually said like, it's like because he's complaining that people talk too much and not enough action, right?
Prequels.
Yeah, it's like there's boring conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Do you like talk about trade, trade embargoes, and
federations?
Yeah. Then I got trilogy for you.
Pre-chorus.
So is this the only song that's about Star Wars?
That I know of.
Okay. Again, because to me, maybe it's just the prog nature of the song. It seems like the whole
Like the whole
If you
album.
told me there was a whole album like this of music based on Star Wars, I'd be like, okay, yep, I get it.
You have to listen to the bridge.
Okay.
You have to focus on the bridge, and then when you know, because it's about Star Wars, when you hear it, tell me. Which, by the way, I hate this part because it gets quieter and like too quiet.
Okay.
I could be wrong where it is.
Is it that? The
Hold on, can you-
except it's not right.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, it's not like we're going to rip it off directly,
No, it's
but we're going to
rhythmically.
give an
Yeah.
homage to the Imperial March.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
It's there. But
I definitely did not pick that up the first time.
I didn't either until
yeah.
just recently when I was like prepping myself for this. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what this is about. And then like, that sounds like Star Wars. And then looking at it, I was like, oh my God, yeah, it's totally about
Well, as
Star
soon as I
Wars.
saw Starkiller, I was like, at least there's an allusion to it if it's not specifically about. But yeah,
But it's totally about like Anakin Skywalker.
yeah.
Decades up and challenge domination. Never thought you'd have the guts to walk away. Go run to your new boy. You were nothing but a toy. Just another weak mind to manipulate.
So that is about episode 6. Decades of unchallenged domination. Never thought you'd have the guts to walk away. Go run with your new boy. You were nothing but a toy, just another weak mind to manipulate.
Nice.
Which is totally like, yeah, go off with your son.
And then J.J. Abrams will.
Are
Mess
you
this
mad
up.
about that?
Episode 9. Come on, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the thing I'm really annoyed
Did
about.
you like 7?
Yeah, I did
you
like
like
7.
8?
I do like 8.
Okay.
But here's my real beef is with the people in charge of that,
Yeah.
is that they clearly did not sit down and go, here's what's happening over 7, 8, and 9.
Oh yeah, totally.
They
was
just were
oh,
like, here, JJ, make this movie. Here, Ryan, make this movie. And then it was supposed to be Colin Trevorrow who got fired, and then JJ Abrams had to come
why?
back. Yeah, because he
didn't he do something stupid?
I don't that I'm not sure about. I think it was more that he made a movie that was like real bad and then was like belligerent about it or something. That's what my recollection of it, but I don't remember now.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, that's my big beef with it. Like, I don't love episode 9, most of it, but anyway.
I don't think that it has anything. It's not like part of a grander thing.
The album,
because
like the rest of the album.
The previous song is called Gypsy, Funkle Phil, Necromancing Dancing. Like none of these seem like She Wrecks.
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Sickness for Nothing.
The one thing I saw, they are listed as an adventure rock band.
Adventure rock.
So that's kind of funny. Also, question for you. So I just like pulled up their Bandcamp to see like what else there is. They have a single,
Big Town Banky
Blaine's Rockabilly Barbecue. Have you played this for me before?
I've played it for you.
Okay.
It's good.
Because I was
really
like,
good.
that's so specific that like there's no way I'm thinking of something else.
You're like, I've heard
but
that name
if I
before.
recall too, was very like weird off the wall storytelling kind of, right? Like concept-y.
Oh yeah, it tells a story.
Okay.
I think they are very like theatrical and like we're going to tell a story.
So they're
in this
to just boil it down to a very specific, like they're prog rock basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a 3-piece or a 4-piece or
all the pictures I saw, it's 3 people.
Yeah. And I don't know who sings.
Yeah. I just had it.
The guy without a beard.
Come on, Face ID. There we go. Go back real quick. I'll pull this up. I'm intrigued to listen to more of them though.
Oh,
Ryan Abel on guitar and vocals, Andrew Heath on bass and bad vocals, and Mike Buttons. That's with a Y and Mike and a capital Z and Buttons on drums. So
cool.
Yeah, Bear Ghost. I'm into it. They also have is this a single or an album? They do a Stop Eating on the Microphone. Someone's gonna like reach through the mic and punch you. So they have a Christmas thing. It's like two tracks.
Yeah, Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies.
And also Zat You Santa Claus.
I don't know what that song is.
Zat You Santa Claus? I don't like that song. But anyway, cool. Bear Ghost. Take a break while Bo eats off mic.
On mic. We'll be back.
We just had a very long conversation about a lot of random things.
Texas Walker Ranger.
Texas Ranger.
Texas Walker Ranger.
Texas Walker Ranger. What was I going to say? Oh,
you were going to say how Sticks and Stones break bones.
So
words will always hurt your feelings because you're emo.
No, it's not an emo song at all.
No, it's not.
No. So this my tune is called Sticks and Stones by King's Kaleidoscope, who is a band I have been aware of, but I don't think I've ever really listened to them, or I've maybe listened like a song or two. Mm-hmm. So they're a Christian band, and they were on Tooth and Nail, I think, for just their first album in 2014 or so. So that's probably like where I became aware of them. But the reason I know this song and picked this song was because I've started listening to a podcast called The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill, which is all about this like church that was out in the Seattle, like basically the upper Northwest, or Pacific Northwest, but it was started in Seattle. And they became sort of like a mini mega church kind of thing. And
What's it called? What's not the podcast, but the church?
it was called Mars Hill. And it became kind of infamous because of their leader, Mark Driscoll, who basically was just like crazy and a jerk and all this stuff. And it's a really fascinating story. And I've heard mention of it from different bands, especially Tooth and Nail Records bands, because Tooth and Nail's from Seattle, and like a lot of those bands, you know, being a Christian label and stuff, and like a lot of those bands wanted to attend a church that was like a little different, and so Mars Hill like attracted, I think, like a lot of those people and different stuff. And so anyway, this song, or portions of this song, are used as the theme song for the show or the podcast, and in there they also insert audio clips, which is kind of cool. So like the beginning, you'll hear some like, it's just this like piano thing, and there's like a couple measures of like nothing before the vocals come in or in between the vocals, and they insert stuff. So, but one of the things I thought was interesting when I first listened was the way that it changes, and that there's like a second singer and all this stuff that I just didn't know, because I've only heard, you know, the 45 seconds or whatever that they use.
Okay.
So, but I liked it enough to go check it out. I still dig it, but
So
you just doing some Googling?
I did some Googling because I'm like, wait, that sounds familiar.
Gave it a Goog.
So Dustin Kensrue, he was part of that church.
Oh, for sure. That makes total sense.
He was I believe he was like the worship leader or something like that.
And they also they like spawned, like there's other, it's not just like one church in one location.
Yeah.
It like branched out, and they had locations all over the place and stuff, and then
I think that also
like collapsed.
Well, maybe how long ago did it
2016, 2015,
okay, then
something like that.
Maybe it's not the same thing then, because there's another one of those mega church idea things in New Mexico, where Andy Othling, our theme for the past 2 weeks, he used to go there. Okay. And then he was starting to call out their bullshit. Yeah. Especially during COVID times, where they're like, they're like no masks. Full like, you know, in November, December, when like giant spikes. Yeah. And they're just like, oh, you know, can't keep God out. Yeah.
So the big thing about Mars Hill, so this guy Mark Driscoll, who was one of the founders and then like essentially became like the guy. He was there was like a thing at one point, he was called like the cussing pastor or whatever, and the guy who's like the narrator and whatever, and like lead reporter for the podcast, he was like, to be fair, I've listened to like thousands of hours of this guy now. He didn't really swear that much. Okay. Especially like not on the pulpit.
Like just because he did it once or twice. Yeah. Like that's the thing that stands out. And that's the thing too, is that like there was like the one especially he like profusely apologized for or whatever. But that's not to say he didn't talk about like kind of graphic sexual stuff and like some different things and things from the pulpit, and he would yell and scream and do all this stuff. And the thing you usually hear about like churches of this kind is that like they're like totally against the mainstream and whatever, and they kind of were, but in a slightly twisted way, in the way that like Seattle and Portland and all those, they're like super progressive cities and stuff, and like totally against the mainstream. So his kind of thing was like, we're going to be like a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? So they kind of had like conservative theology, which was anti like these progressive towns. So like he was all about like, the one episode I listened to was all about like the way they treated women, and it was bad. And they basically were like, women, you're only there to be your husband's wife and to serve him sexually in every other way, and just drop out of school and quit your job and just raise babies and all this different stuff, like super conservative and old school and wrong and whatever. But that was his whole thing. It was like, we're going to have all these traditional families and all this stuff, and that's how we're going to be, you know, anti everybody else and stuff. So, but this song, there's actually a really good article about this song, which talks about like how it's like sticking it to today's church, you know. Okay. So anyway, we can get into the tune. What's the time signature?
Did I pledge my
4,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2.
You
I think it's
started
4 and 6. I did. I think it's 4 and 6. With that as your beat.
Yeah.
One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
1, 2,
Or 4s and 2s.
3,
Yeah, different
4,
ways.
5, 6, 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't pay that close attention.
It
Makes
bugged
sense, though,
It
'cause
bugged me
again-
at the beginning, but then it evolves into
Yeah.
4/4.
But again, like I'm used to listening to it with like audio inserted, like clips of people talking.
like welcome to blah 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 blah.
No, it's more like
Okay.
like interview clips and like
Oh,
or
okay.
clips of him like
is this the
screaming and yelling at the thing. Yeah, I
Okay.
said that.
I was drunk.
Yeah, not the whole thing though. They just use like parts of it.
I got you.
So I don't know a ton about this band because it's basically like I just know this one song.
Yeah.
But it kind of has like hip hop influences, rock influences, pop and stuff, and yeah.
Do they have horns as like normal?
I don't know. When I did like cursory looking.
There's a lot of
up
members,
them.
obviously, that are gonna have horns.
Well, I think so, but also
They're a
there's like
ska
a lot
band.
of members that like aren't in anymore. Like the main picture of them, there shows like 6 people.
I count 8 in current members.
Okay.
2 bass guitar.
Can you pause for a second? So like when I first
Yeah.
listened to it, I was like, oh, there's a female singer. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
There was.
Yeah. Although she is listed as so if you look at the members and past members,
Lindsay Gardner.
Lindsay Gardner, yeah, is past member or whatever.
Or
but
Julianne Smith.
yeah, but this is Lindsay Gardner,
Okay.
who Chad Gardner is the main guy and I think the lead singer and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is that his sister? Is that his wife? Ex-wife? You know what I mean? I don't know the relationship. But I like in their Wikipedia, it's like their music features an eclectic range of electronic, woodwind, string, and brass instruments with a musical style described as indie rock meets hip hop production with a sprinkle of Disney.
Because that means it's like we're good for everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're rated G.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Here we go. So based out of Seattle,
Yeah.
King's Kaleidoscope formed in 2010 at a Mars Hill Church plant, and plant means just like a separate location at the University of Washington, where Gardner was a worship leader. Interesting. That's pretty cool. I should have read that before.
You should have. You should have done some research.
Yeah, but in 2013 they also then left that church before they broke up. Oh, and they work with Bad Christian. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Bad Christian?
Bad Christian is a label, a podcast, a sort of brand that was started by the guys in Emory.
Okay.
And it sort of, to my knowledge, I listened to some of their podcasts like years ago, but it basically stemmed from, these Christian bands or Christian people and all that stuff. We've talked about this before with different bands, but like the whole thing about like, does smoking a cigarette make you a bad Christian? Does drinking a beer make you a bad Christian? Does having tattoos, does saying a bad word, premarital sex, like whatever, any kinds of things, you know what I mean? Like that, all these things. And like a lot of these bands, the problem that they dealt with was that they were too Christian for the mainstream and not Christian enough for the Christians. And, so they kind of came up with this whole thing of like, well, I guess we're bad Christians then,
Makes sense.
So
This this is apparently a mixtape.
it is. Yeah. I was going to talk about that it's not from an album. It's from a mixtape.
Yeah, and it reached number 4 on the U.S. Christian charts and 14 on the U.S. indie album ranks. Things.
Cool.
And a lot of they have a lot of live records, like a lot.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them.
And
4 of them are independent. 2 of them are from Mars Hill Music, and 1 is on Bad Christian. No, I guess it would be 2. What's this BEC?
Oh, BEC is a. So I think BEC
it says it's an imprint of Tooth and Nail.
It is. Well, that's what I was going to say. I couldn't. They used to be like their own thing, and then I think Tooth and Nail bought them, and they're the like. They used to be more like the poppy and sometimes hip hoppy side of the Christian thing. Like if Tooth and Nail was like the punk rockers, And then Solid State was the hardcore guys and the metal guys, and then BEC was like the more,
Brandon
mainstream.
Abel Company.
Brandon Ebel.
There you go, Ebel.
Oh, so he did start it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what
I didn't realize that. I thought they were their own thing
Who's
first.
Brandon Ebel?
He's the founder of Tooth and Nail Records.
Okay, so he's like, we need an imprint of...
Yeah. He was like, we need something to...
Now I really want... There's a podcast about Tooth and Nail, isn't there?
There is. It's called Labeled. Yeah. So they used to have their own podcast before where they would just like more or less interview bands that they had and then like play new music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's one called Labeled, which is actually run by one of the guys from Emory. I forget if it's Matt or Toby. But yeah, anyway, it's a whole scene.
Yeah.
Obviously. We've referenced it before. But
was Reliant K ever on Tooth and Nail?
Reliant K, I believe, was on Tooth and Nail for like a hot second, or they weren't. And they almost were. I can't remember now.
Because they also
to be
are
honest.
kind of like in that.
Yeah. And they were
world.
one of the ones that like made it big. Maybe they missed the Tooth and Nail thing. Maybe they went straight to like a major.
I think they also were like, they had their own record label.
Yeah. But like Juliana Theory started on Tooth and Nail.
Mm-hmm. Wow, there's only 2 current members. Everybody else is touring.
Yeah. Anyway, we can get back to the song because we took like a major left turn. But
well, just remember, 2 lefts don't make a right, but 3 do.
Cool.
That's a Reliant K album.
Nice. Yeah, and so this song, like, if you look at the lyrics and analyze them a little bit more, like, it is kind of like questioning church authority, I guess, and like in some way. I mean, maybe that's specific or whatever, and just like, what are we doing this for? And are we trying to just like praise a pastor? Is it about the message, the movement, all kinds of stuff? So. Are you intrigued to listen to more of them by this one song?
I'm like, yes and no.
Because I'm saying the same way.
I'm more interested in Tooth and Nail now. Like, I want to know more about them.
I got you.
Yeah. So now we're gonna have or just like the Christian music scene.
I got you, man. I'm all on top of it. That was my whole aesthetic for like a long time. And I still listen to a lot of bands that either were or still on or fit that.
Yeah. Do you know a band called War of Ages?
No.
Okay. They're buddies of ours.
Okay.
And they are like in the Christian music scene.
Okay. Yeah. When I was looking up King's Kaleidoscope, I think their first album that came out on Tooth and Nail like 2014. I definitely recognized that album cover, so I'm like,
this is weird in this song.
And I think this is maybe part of the mixtape thing, although it's still part of the song.
Oh yeah, definitely, because they have that hook.
Yeah.
The
Paint the Beauty We Split.
It's probably like the talky part, right?
Yeah.
Like, or I should say the preachy part.
Yeah. Well, it's more gospel-y almost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, when I say preachy, I mean like this is the real message.
Yeah, sure.
Like the other stuff was just like sugarcoating it. This is the real meat and potatoes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested in checking out more. As I was saying before, like I definitely recognize that one album cover, so I'm like, maybe I gave this a listen at one point, or just
was that Becoming Who We Are?
Maybe. Or
just
it was
a bunch of flowers and
or I was just aware of it because I follow whatever. I don't listen to everything that Tooth and Nail puts out, but whenever I see a new band or a new thing, I'm like, I will give a listen because I don't know what the word, like I respect, I guess, like their taste in signing bands, but I don't obviously like listen to everything.
Okay. I'm looking at this and now it's like the composition. Reviewers acknowledge the album's musical eclecticism from auto-tune usage to ska-like horn section. I'm like, okay, just because you have horns doesn't make it ska, but right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested in this band also because they, like on that record, that first one that you're talking about, which came out in 2014.
Yeah.
The writers, one is Saint Francis of Assisi, which I'm like...
So they use lyrics that are based on like things that he wrote and preached probably.
Okay.
I assume.
But like the whole writing credit went to them.
Oh, okay.
And it was called All Creatures, which makes me want to like, is it just, oh my God, there's a song written by Dustin Kensrue on here.
There you go.
Man, they're just like, will you write a song for us?
But I mean, maybe they were buds if he was part of that church.
Oh, probably. Like, I think he was the music director.
Right, yeah.
Like, he was in that. He may have been even like the second, and then he left probably because he's like, these people.
So
like, I'm into it, but not that much.
And maybe because my phone listens to me and whatever, but I just randomly saw the like cover art or whatever of that podcast on Spotify actually when I was like scrolling through stuff, because occasionally I'll listen to podcasts on Spotify. I usually listen to them on my podcast app, but sometimes that's not working for whatever reason. And so I'll like go on there, and anyway, it just happened to be on there, and I was like, oh, that's cool that there's like a not quite an oral history, but it's like a reported podcast. So it's put out by an organization called Christianity Today, which I think was a magazine or is a magazine. It's probably now more of a website, just a media company basically. So they're like, it's essentially like they're doing reporting on this thing and interviews and clips and stuff. So, but yeah, I've been aware of that for a while and like never really known the story. Just knew that it was this like pretty influential church in the scene, you know, in a way, and then had a pretty disastrous fall. So yeah, so that's all. But yeah, I like the tune. It's got a good vibe to it and stuff. It's a good driving song for sure. And yeah,
I was driving.
I'd like
to
check out more of their stuff just to see like how much different it is and you know what else they do. So cool.
We're gonna say goodbye.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk to us about this or any other thing, you can come to our Discord.
Yeah.
And remember to follow us on social media
at Two Tunes Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, you could join our Facebook group, which is just look up Two Tunes Podcast.
Yep.
You could subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah, that'd be
instead
great.
of just like waiting for me to text you. Just hit subscribe and it'll download to your phone automatically. Whichever podcast you listen to. Of course, you probably found this somehow.
Yeah.
But
share on social media.
Share,
cool
like,
too.
Subscribe, smash that like button.
Just even like throwing a share up on your Instagram story or whatever is cool. That's super helpful.
We want to get over 100 listens a week.
Yeah.
Right now we're getting like 20.
Yeah. And any artists that we've talked about, if you actually listen to stuff, we appreciate it. It's cool. Some of them have recently given us some likes and shares and stuff on Instagram, which is cool.
When you mention them,
sometimes
they'll like you.
Sometimes it'll still say sent like 15 weeks ago.
Or they'll like the thing that me and Brandon here post on our own Instagrams.
Not mine, because mine's private, but yours especially, because yours is public. But
you should. Yeah. Anyways,
I'm not making mine public.
I didn't think you should, but whatever. I'm an early adopter to Instagram. Been on it since the beginning. I really have.
I've been on it since I got an iPhone like 9 years ago. So
I got the iPhone 3G was my first iPhone.
Maybe same.
It was the oval back. It came in black or white, and that was it.
Mine was not oval back. I
think it only had a
glass though,
or just
okay.
Doesn't matter. This isn't an iPhone podcast. We'll see you next week.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.